The junior common room where I'm sitting now is in the northwest corner of the building. It's probably the least changed part of the college since the original construction of the college in the 1850s, because it didn't suffer under the fire, and it's the one that has been least changed over the years, and I think probably most loved by all of the students. The picture that you develop of University College in the 1850s is that it's really supported by Presbyterians, low church Presbyterians, and by low church Anglicans. Those are the great mass of the student body here. And it has been said that had it not been for those two groups, University College would not have survived through the 1860s. That was where the strength lay. That was where the opinion that was in favor of a non-sectarian university education lay in Ontario at the time. And it's important to remember that in the history of University College. The variety of the student body is true religiously of the student body, but in terms of the ethnic origin of the student body, it's almost entirely, in fact, is entirely Anglo-Saxon, so far as you can tell by looking at last names and what you know about some of the people. So when we look at these boards behind me here with the names of all of the leaders of the student society, what we see is virtually no name that would be unfamiliar to someone who grew up in an Anglo-Saxon environment, until one gets well around to the next corner of the building, where you get to about the early 1900s, when the waves of immigration in Canada are just very, very slowly beginning to influence the makeup of the student body. And that doesn't change in any dramatic fashion until you get to 1928, 1929, 1930, 1931, when you start to see a significant number of Eastern European names, and particularly Jewish names, beginning to come into the leadership of the student society. And those names are almost like household names in a way. Bora Laskin is one of the first Jewish presidents of the LIT, the man who became the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Canada, or Sidney Hermant, or Lionel Gelber. These are names that are still well known today, and those are people who all came out of an Eastern European background, and by the 1930s, they were able to go to university and through merit were to have come into positions of leadership in the Literary and Athletic Society, positions of leadership that in fact they continued to exercise through the rest of their lives. Now, one other major change needs to be mentioned, and that is initially the college was an all-male college. And it's not until the 1880s that women become students at University College. And so when we restored this room in the 1980s, alumni went through all of the records of the college that they could find and reestablished the names of all of the undergraduate women's executive members, and we included all of those names on the wall so that they come around from the 1880s through until the moment, I've forgotten the exact date, when the Women's Undergraduate Association and the Men's Literary and Athletic Society merged, and from that time on there was only one undergraduate student body, and so we could have single groups of names coming around the rest of the walls. And then They jump up to the upper level and are moving gradually around the walls and filling all the boards. Where they will go when those are full, I do not know.